Thursday, October 9th. Do you know what time it is? It's Al Sharpton's time. And for the next 3 hours, we're going to put aside all pretenses, deception, denial, or fronting. The time has come to keep it real on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. A very good afternoon to all of you across the country, and good morning to our West Coast listeners. And welcome to all those listening to us on SiriusXM today, channel 126, Urban View, where talking powers and becomes action. I'm Dominique Sharpton. I'm Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter. I'm sitting in today for the Rev. Rev's got a lot going on, and we've got a lot going on, but we've got to stay involved and stay in the action. And certainly we got a lot to talk about as we keep talking and empowering and staying committed to the action. And so you can join in on this unique conversation today as we go and keep it real. And we want all of you to join in on the conversation. You can call us today, 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us on the message board and join our virtual audience today as folks are chiming in and listening to us, watching us via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Certainly, we got a lot to talk about, and we know that we are still dealing with this government shutdown. Many people are chiming in. Many people are talking about the ramifications and effects of this shutdown, from travel bans to government workers being laid off, or the promise to be compensated at a later date. Is that really going to happen? And so there's a lot going on with that. And certainly as Senate Democrats are clashing with House Speaker Mike Johnson over the government shutdown and the Jeffrey Epstein files. We're still talking about that. But Arizona Democrats are clashing with the GOP leaders over this delay. We're hearing news, and certainly Senators Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly blasted House Speaker Mike Johnson for delaying the swearing in of Representative-elect Adelita Grijalva, accusing him of blocking her to protect Republicans from tough votes on extending Affordable Care Act subsidies and releasing those Epstein files. But Johnson defends the delay amid this shutdown. He denied political motives, saying that the House just can't swear in new members until the government reopens, claiming procedural tradition. And Gallego countered that and other lawmakers were sworn in under similar circumstances earlier this year, calling the explanation a simple excuse. But partisan tensions are boiling over, and the exchange devolved into heated crosstalk, with Representative Mike Lawler accusing Senate Democrats of simply voting keep the government shut down. The confrontation highlighted the broader partisan gridlock over funding the government and extending key health care subsidies. And so we are keeping abreast to that. With all the fighting and things that are going on internally, we are still dealing externally with, of course, the ramifications of what this shutdown entails, and if there is going to be some type of resolve, what that looks like. So we got a lot to talk about today. And also President Donald Trump is talking about, of course, the ceasefire, exchange deal between Israel and Hamas. They've reached a preliminary hostage prisoner exchange deal, paving the way for a long-awaited ceasefire after 2 years of war. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is convening his cabinet to approve it, while President Trump, who has helped broker the agreement, said he may travel to the region. But these are the first steps to a ceasefire and to peace. And the deal's initial phase calls for Israel to pull back troops in Gaza and also begin returning hostages as Hamas urges global powers to actually ensure that Israel honors in the terms. Key disputes, of course, including Gaza's future governance and whether Hamas will actually disarm, remain unresolved. But this is, if President Trump is going to see through to this, this is a good thing, and we want peace and we want the war to stop. But what happens after that? What happens in terms of the relationships and developing, the relationships that need to continue in order to keep the peace? So all this talk is great, but what are we looking for after that? What is going to happen to the people after that and to the policies after that? And how are we going to really look forward in terms of the fabric of peace of what that brings? The war has killed over 67,000 Palestinians and left Gaza in humanitarian collapse. And news of the deal sparked, of course, relief in Israel and cautious hopes in Gaza, though fighting continued as both sides are prepared for the ceasefire start. So we've got a lot to talk about, a lot to deal with, and certainly want to, of course, just iterate that, we, as the Bible said, I don't know if those of you who are religious like me and my family, but, they talk about this in the Bible and talk about wars and rumors of wars. And if we are looking to the end and how the people need to stand up and fight, how the people need to stand up and get involved in the action, how the people need to unite and stand strong in this moment with all that's going on. We're taking your calls, and I see the message board is lighting up, as the young people say, is lit in here. So good afternoon, Thursday. Good afternoon to you all. Good afternoon, Chicago. Good afternoon, New York City. Good afternoon, San Francisco, and all those who are tuning in to the action on today. You can also join in on the conversation. You can call us 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. I see you there. I see you there on the message board. I see y'all there. And yeah, we're talking about how we can really, in this time, not only in terms of reconstructing the movement, in terms of, thinking about, well, does demonstration still matter? Does talking about the issues do anything to bring us closer to peace, to bring us closer to progress? It actually does. And remember that in everything that we do, and all the action and the events and the demonstrations and how we convene and continue to really push the needle forward, it's all to really elevate the consciousness of our minds, the consciousness of what our people need to know, what our people need to feel, what our people need to experience for us to really come together and really unite and get things done. And so we talk about the March on Wall Street. You talk about, how marching has been relevant or unrelevant, not relevant to some people, in the midst of how tragedy has surfaced amongst us, amongst our people through generations, and how we have turned travesty and tragedy into power, into victory, into pushing for policies to change, pushing for the future of our children to look a little better, to be more hopeful, and to really deal with these issues up front. Reverend Sharpton is a leader who is fearless, who is unapologetic, who gets up every day, willing to confront the challenges in a very meaningful, positive, but active way. And so we've got to really counter a lot of that energy now. We've got to really counter a lot of the spiritual energy. I know that Sister Anita's going to call in later and talk about that. But we've got to really channel that spiritual energy that it takes right now in this moment, whether we are dealing with issues on our job, whether we're dealing with seeing issues as they come up on the news, or we feel passionate about what's happening in our government, or we feel passionate when we see these stories and hear about wars that are happening, and talks about ceasefire and talks about conflict resolution. But we know that we're dealing with, people shooting down our loved ones in our own backyards. We've got a lot to deal with, a lot across the board. And we have to be ready. We've got to be vigilant. We've got to be mindful, and we've got to be spiritually ready and connected in order to really confront these issues head on. So I'm sitting in the hot seat today. I always learn a lot when I sit in the hot seat on Keeping It Real. So I'm looking for y'all to not only inform me, but engage me today. This is inspirational time, and I'm always grateful for the opportunity to stand on the shoulders of people like the Reverend Al Sharpton and all of you activists out there who going to talk about doing something. It's Dominique Sharpton. I'm sitting in for the Rev. We're going to take a break. Taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797. Let's get into it, y'all. Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
And I think that is extremely important about the funding. But I also want to add how they're changing what can be taught. You have states outright saying you can't teach Black history and you can't teach certain other histories and the curriculum. You have this administration that is literally taking out exhibits from the Smithsonian. So we have not only an education problem in terms of resources, we have an education problem in terms of curriculum and what people are being taught. So I have one grandchild, 6-year-old. When he gets to high school, it may be just against the law for him to learn about certain parts of American history, which includes Black. We don't want to talk about slavery. We want to talk about the good side of America. Well, what does that mean? That's not history. Everything was not good. And I think that that is the threat that we've got to fight, which is why we've got to fight in the courts and the streets, because they are literally changing the textbooks as we go. As they do that, they change the opportunities, because then the fight against affirmative action is not having access to these institutions and telling these institutions, this whole fight around DEI, which they started in Harvard with a Black woman president. Started with them saying you can't teach diversity in an Ivy League school like Harvard. It didn't start in Little Rock at the high school. This fight, this time, was Harvard. And they went from there on. And I think that we've got to have the same resistance. If they could fight in the 50s, the ACP people put forward together and deal with the question from Little Rock in terms of desegregation, then we that are far more educated, far more economically secure personally, have no excuse in the age of what they did in Harvard not to be standing up back to themselves.
It's time for a new course, a new coalition, a new leadership. Somebody got to rise above race, rise above sex. A new leadership, a choice, a chance. Don't cry about what you don't have, use what you got. Everybody in town was scared of Goliath. We got more and more folk and fewer services. We cannot stop. We got to rise on higher. Little David. Little David. Little David. Took off his unnecessary garments. Little David. Didn't want to get weighted down with a lot of foolishness. Little David. Took what God gave him, a slingshot and a God biscuit, a rock.
What up, big brother? You good?
talk about you all day on TV.
One, two, three, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, 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 got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Ah! Baby, oh, feeling, baby. Oh, hey, hey, oh, baby, 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 baby. Come on, sing it out, baby, baby. Come on, baby, baby, baby. Can't hear you. Hey, hey, I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
All right. Baby face.
Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, be together. Every step I take, you will be there. Every step I make, be together. Every step I take.
Thank you so much. I was thinking I was going to prepare a speech, but I can't read those things anymore. Name's Babyface, not Baby Body. But I wanted to. I mean, you made me sound so good with those words. I was like, that was me. I was like, when I look at my life and I think of the music and everything that I've done, I used to say that I don't know where it came from. I don't know where the words come from. I don't know where the music comes from. I don't know how I got here where I am, but that's not true. God got me here. This is and it becomes more clear to me every day that's why I'm here. And I don't even know how I ended up standing here, except for the fact that I ran into Al at the Essence. He was walking in the room, and I said, I got to go say hello. And he said, I want to honor you. And I was like, really? He goes, yeah, I want to honor you. I said, really? Yep. And here I am standing here, and I can well, thank you. I always wanted to do this, Michael. I love you too. Sorry. But I think of moments like this, I can't help but just think of how proud my mom would be for me standing here. I have to say that just to be standing here and to be invited by Al Sharpton, and I want you guys to really think about this man who invited me here and how he has been fighting the fight for us all of these years. I don't think we give him enough credit. I don't think we give him enough love. Sometimes you just get used to people and you think, well, that's just Al. No. He's more than that. I want y'all to give him really love. Come on, let's give him. It's very true. Because I can remember times, I'm 67 years old, I can remember times in Indianapolis, Indiana. Yeah, it's true, I'm 67. And I can remember times in Indianapolis when I was growing up, and there were places when, before I was 5 years old, that I could not go to because I was black. And I remember how civil rights, how that changed everything for me and for my life, and that I'm standing here today because of all of those changes. And I was able to do the kind of music that I do and do everything because those things happened. And so for me to accept an award like this, because I've never gotten an award like this before. And so I really appreciate it, and I'm just so thankful, and I thank my mom for giving me the sense to always be humble with my life, and to never think that it's all about me, and so like I said, I didn't prepare a speech. I always just wanted to speak from my heart. And I'm speaking from my heart.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter, sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. You can join in on today's conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us on the message board as we are watching via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. And good afternoon to all of those watching us and chiming in on the message board. Greetings and salutations to all of you. And certainly it has been a lot. It's been a journey. And for those of you who are on the message board and watching us as through the break, as we recap the Triumph Awards and some of the things that we are definitely thankful and grateful to be able to have moments where we can honor luminaries who have broken barriers in not only entertainment and in activism, but who really devote their lives beyond their celebrity to do something meaningful, to give back, to be involved in the community. It's very, very important. And we were able to really honor some of these luminaries like Kenneth Babyface Edmonds, and Stephanie Mills, and Ari Melber, and Chesley Maddox Dorsey, and so many others who have not only broken barriers, but they've also paved the way for many others to come and to exhibit their talents and to have the platform and the support in order to make their dreams come true and their light shine. So it was an amazing evening, and it was an amazing event to be blessed to have had the honor to produce for over 15 years with Nan. And certainly thank all of you who have joined us. So I just wanted to chime in. I see the message board talking about the Triumph Awards, so I wanted to just bring that up. But we've got a lot of folks holding on, wanting to talk about some of the issues that are going on today. So let's go to Ann. Ann is listening to us from Richmond, Virginia, and you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. Ann, are you there?
Questions? Yes, I'm here.
Hi,
Can you
good
hear me?
afternoon. I can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I have two comments I would like to make. The first one is about the Gaza and the Israel situation that's going on. I do believe it's a genocide that has occurred over there. Like you stated earlier in your comment, over 67,000 people were killed, and they're still finding bodies in the area of Gaza in the ruin. And so that place based on what I see on TV, it looks totally demolished.
Yes.
And so with that being said, and Donald Trump has invited his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, because Donald Trump is trying to rebuild Gaza. He wants that land. So he's using the excuse as though he's trying to go over there and get the hostages and everybody released, and the prime minister of Israel is in on it. They don't kill so many Palestinians, and, the children walking around, they're going through the rubbish and stuff. So it's I do hope that we could come to some type of term, but not on the behalf of Israel, because Gaza, and that's what Donald Trump, the waterfront land, he wants that property. He really doesn't care about those people. He doesn't care about anybody but himself. The second thing that I want to make a comment about, the National Guard and the ICE agent being deported to Chicago and different states now. And Donald Trump, the ICE agent, you are not supposed to be wearing a mask. I mean, because I'm thinking that with that situation right there, that the ICE agent are being protected because their family are being threatened and everything like that, they're doing that because they are the Proud Boys. Donald Trump, the first thing that he did in office on January 20, 2025, he pardoned 1,500 of those rioters that
Yes.
almost killed Nancy Pelosi and destroyed the Capitol and Mike Pence, So now he's protecting them. They are your ICE agent. That's why he's like they're in disguise, because if they do a facial recognition, somebody look and say, oh, he was with the situation that occurred on January the 6th.
Right.
So now they taking that same antic, that same practice of trying to kill people. And not only that, 5 people, from my understanding, died on January the 6th. And I don't think anybody was held accountable. So that tactic that they did at the Capitol, they doing in these other states. They're going around bullying people, putting guns up to people. People are going missing. You shooting that minister. So why they got to be concealed when they doing this? Show your face, because you know what? You one of them people that he has pardoned. So I don't understand why we allow Donald Trump to manipulate us, because we are so close to becoming a communist country. And Donald Trump, and wants a Nobel Peace Prize for what he's doing. Give me a break with that one. Really? He sat there and assisted the prime minister in killing, because the Palestinian was saying there's a genocide going on. Nobody's really listening to them. They're having people that are trying to let the world know what's really going on. They don't, and it's more people going to die. And the sad thing about it now, Jared Kushner, he doesn't have to bulldoze. Only thing, they don't have to blow up the buildings, because the buildings already been blown up. So the only thing they got to do is go in there and clear off the land, so they can start building Donald Trump dream condos. It's all about Donald Trump. It's not about the people really over in Israel. It's about annihilation, and it's about genocide. And they need to face the fact what is going on and stop trying to give him credit and nominate him for a Nobel Peace Prize.
Well, you
That's
know what,
unreal.
the not and I'm gonna get back to you, sister, but I just had to just chime in. But when you were talking about the hoods and the covering of the faces for the ICE agents, it's symbolic. To me, it's symbolism. And with social media being rampant as it is, you now can just video record anything. We see these horrific videos of agents literally tearing parents away from their children. It's disgusting, and we see that symbolism throughout history. We look at the Ku Klux Klan and how these were judges and lawyers and and the teachers and the upstanding citizens of the town who were committing these heinous crimes against Black people at night, and they wore the hoods. I think that's a symbolic reference, honestly, and I feel that the more we continue to allow for these hoods, right, to take over our land, to take over our people, I think we'll continue to witness and deal with these heinous acts as they are being brought amongst our people. So I just wanted to say that. But go ahead, Ann. I know you had to finish up. We got a lot of callers that are trying to chime in.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
Okay, I just want to commend the Democratic Party not giving up. Keep fighting for us, because Donald Trump, what they say, Satan, we're going to tear your kingdom down, and this means war. We need to tear Donald Trump's kingdom down, because he's all about communists, and he doesn't care about nobody but the Russians and Putin them. So, but I really wish they would look at that ICE situation and make them demask, take the mask off, because you're going to find a lot of those rioters that was on January the 6th at the Capitol are in uniform now.
Yes,
so we got to be careful. Tell your children, we trust police officers. We trust people like ICE agents because they're in uniform. But this is a scary time, because those people, especially the ICE people, are your Proud Boys, and they're going to kill you.
Mm-hmm. Thank you so much for your call. Yes, Hakeem Jeffries, Happiness Donuts. We want to definitely throw our hats off. Hakeem Jeffries has been in the fight. And those of you who are seeing how he's just taking on people left and right, is really the energy that we need. Those of you who saw how he blasted that Republican who confronted him on the shutdown bill, and it's going viral. But, aside from all that, I think that what Ann was trying to say is very poignant in this moment. And we've got to gear up. We've got to gear up for the fight. We've got to gear up for things that are happening to us. And whether it be ICE agents or we're talking about the war where 67,000 people have been killed. I mean, this is just not something that we should take lightly or for granted. So the fight continues. And thank you so much, Ann, for your call and for keeping it real. I see my brother Rick is holding on, listening to us from Germany. Rick, you're keeping it real.
Let's take a break.
Rick, hold on. They're telling me we're going to take a break, so I don't want to cut you off, brother. I hear that music, though. We're going to take a break. It's Dominique Sharpton. I'm sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. We're going to talk about it, and we're going to keep it real. 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Oh.
I got a Tony.
You got it. My daughter won a Tony Award.
That's crazy.
All right. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Reverend Al Sharpton, and we're back. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Let's go back to the phone. Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin is. You know, every day, Monday through Friday, I do 3 hours a day on Keeping It Real with Reverend Al Sharpton. I do 1 hour on Sunday mornings with Reverend Al Sharpton. And I'm live on radio and TV with the Saturday Action Rally. 7 days a week, I talk to our people, hear from them, to call in. I'm sick and tired of people talking for people that they don't talk to. So go on www.nationalactionnetwork.net. Listen to my show, call in, express your opinion. You don't have to agree with me. But let's start talking to each other rather than about each other and lecturing at each other. Let's keep it real with Sharpton. Hey, what's up? They got, they're doing, thank you. They're doing, what's on your mind? Yeah. All right, then, we got a birthday this week. I gotta talk about that.
Oh, no.
Happy birthday this weekend. And Carrie White's birthday, right?
Corey's birthday is today.
Yeah, and I gotta tell Reverend Bird be ready Daniel 5th chapter. I want him to read. And I'm ready. Got a message from today, so we'll be on the air in what? Half hour.
About a half hour.
You should tune in to the WBLS 107.5 FM and National Impact and www.nationalnetwork.net. All right, I'm ready.
Oh.
Make sure you operate on time, or I'll tell them how old you are. Oh,
Do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the House of Justice and be there live. 145th Street and Lenox Avenue. We kick off at 9, and we don't stop until we deal with getting our people energized. No justice! No justice! No justice! What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom, let my people go, go. We're gonna shine and we shade. Give me a papa glory, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
So it's become almost an unhealthy habit how much I'm listening to Keep It Real, because it is the realest thing on the air anywhere, whether it be online or whether it be on the radio or wherever it's coming into you from, because there's no one of Rev's importance and caliber who is as dominant a media figure as he is, who allows people to speak at length, and who he treats with equal respect and admiration with every call, whether he agrees with you or not. And I'm not gonna throw shade at anybody, but there are a lot of people with big platforms like the Rev has who are afraid to talk to the people and who are afraid that the people will keep it real with them. And he never shies away from anything any of us want to talk to him about. And he doesn't shut you up. It's not a soundbite, it's a conversation. So I would like people in media to learn from this man who is carrying MLK's torch. Don't be afraid of people. Listen to them, respect them, and stand in God and stand in truth.
For the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. This is where the action is. We just ask you to keep it real. I was about to go to my brother Rick, listening to us from Germany. Rick, are you on? You're keeping it real, and good afternoon, my brother.
How you doing, sister?
I'm all right. How are you?
Struggling to breathe, but breathing on your airtime, so I'm going to make this quick. Have you ever been out to Seattle, Washington?
I have. Shout out to the captain.
And
I know the captain is listening to us, one of the greatest black, pilots that we have. Brother Captain, I saw him at the March on Washington, but I've been to Seattle, and Captain, I know is listening, is a great pilot out there. But go ahead, Brother Rick.
have you seen white people on the streets, homeless and strung out on drugs?
I have, unfortunately.
Well, I think the apocalypse is coming, and Donald Trump is ushering it in. He is tearing down the country, not only for poor black folks and migrants and immigrants working in the fields, working as best they can in America, but he's tearing it down for poor white folks in America. And I think he's going to bring back big oil and big coal production here in America, there in America. I don't think he cares about the environment. He cares about his family making as much money as they can before the end of the world. And I think the end of the world is coming soon.
My God.
Sister, I'm done.
Ooh, Rick, you laid it on with us today. But no, I do feel, and thank you so much for your call. I do feel like we are feeling the brunt of the ramifications of what's happening, not only in government, but in policy and our local politics. We're feeling the brunt of it, and we've been feeling the brunt of it. That's why they say, well, look for the strongest people and oppress them and break them down because they're strong, they can take it. That's what we're experiencing. But we also are seeing, and a lot of people who voted for this man are also feeling the ramifications of the policies and the things that he's doing. So it's not just affecting people of color, but as you said, it's affecting a large majority of people that they didn't necessarily count in, right? But people who are dealing with, needing government assistance, living on welfare, having to, have that quality health care to get their medication and to live their quality of life. And they're feeling the brunt of the ramifications of what's happening. And they voted for President Donald Trump. So it's not like, we're just, sitting around twiddling our thumbs, just talking about it because we don't like this person or because we're really feeling the brunt of this, and other people are starting to feel the brunt of this as well. So it's a swell. And when you said America and what he's going to do to America, I really hope that by the time he decides to, if he ever gets there, but if he does get there, I hope that there is still some America left to be able to get there. And I don't know how far how much more we can take of all this. So I hear you, Rick, but I also feel like, we do have an uphill battle that we're climbing, but I do feel like there's hope if we have faith. And I have faith, so I know there's hope. And I know that there's a way that we can see through things, and there's a way that we can still triumph through. And that's what I'm here for. Thank you so much for your call, Rick. And the democracy.fun on the message board said, Rick, please just keep praying. None of this can hold. I call white Dem polls regularly and demand that they support and uplift Black women. I agree with that, and thank you so much for saying that. And I thank Jeffries for refusing to endorse Zoran. Oh, okay. Thank you so much for that comment from the message board, and thank you so much for your call. 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. I'm trying to get my call screen back up. Sister Jalen is in here to help me. But as we are dealing with that and we're getting ready to be joined by Sister Jennifer, I also want to just iterate. I see Miss Eunice holding on, so I'm going to get to Miss Eunice. Miss Eunice, you're keeping it real from Chicago, my friend. Always a pleasure talking with you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. I understand. I'm having trouble with allergy, and it seems as though you are too.
Yes, you can hear my nasal congestion, so I apologize. But thank you. Sister Eunice is always sorting it out. Thank you, sister.
Sure. Dominique, I'm begging the Democrats to get out the message more forcefully, and don't let the Republicans get away with the lies they are telling about the Democrats shutting the government down. They should be meeting on a 24-hour basis if necessary. They run back to their district. If they wanted to stay in the district, why did they run for office? And, not the Republicans, but the representatives should be seated now that from what is that? What was it, Arizona?
Arizona, Arkansas. You talking about Arizona?
I think yeah. Well, when it comes to them, remember how they pushed Amy Barrett to the Supreme Court in days, and former president was called a lame duck. And that's why Merrick Garland wasn't brought up for confirmation. He had over a year in his term, if I'm not mistaken. And we should demand that we get representation, no matter who it is. Now they are rubber stamping all the action of this president, and he spews lies everywhere. And if you're wrong no matter who you are. You took an oath to serve and protect and not destruct everything. And please, people, stand up and don't be a one-day situation. Our democracy at stake. You lose if you don't. So if you don't do something, you will never win. And thank you so much, Dominique, and it's so nice to hear you.
No, thank you so much for your call as well. But when we're talking about, and you know, that's why a lot of people are talking about Representative Hakeem Jeffries and how he really is standing up. But we're talking about, extending the Affordable Care Act and what this policy brought to so many American people in terms of being able to afford these high-priced medications and prescriptions in order to stay healthy. Now, there's a conversation. We can get into the conversation about prescription drugs and what, the doctors do, or what, all the politics around, medication and prescriptions and all of that. We can get into that conversation. But the actual legal benefit of being able to have access to quality health care should not be a debate in this country. It should not be a debate anywhere, but it most especially should not be a debate here. And when you're talking about literally, we're talking about arguing over folks' lives and arguing about whether we are going to allow benefits and access to quality health benefits. If that's going to be a question, then I feel that those people should not even be in office, not alone even be in this country, but they should not be in office. If we are really talking about having to argue on, whether or not this is something that American people deserve, it's a no-brainer to me. And I just don't feel like we are really putting our vote to good use, putting people in office that are going to argue folks down about whether or not people deserve to have access to quality health care. Let's leave that there. Thank you so much, Miss Eunice, for your call. Sister Tricia on the message board says, I hate how they stay on Representative Jeffries like he is the only person that is responsible for fighting this regime. We all need to stand up, at the very least, write and call our elected officials. And that's a very important comment. Thank you so much, Tricia. We also need to do our due diligence. And I have called so many times. I have, arranged, and you can come to our youth huddle on Monday nights at the House of Justice in New York if you're there, or tune in via live stream and help us to teach these young people civic engagement and how to be actively involved in pursuing the changes that we really, really wish to see. And that's by being involved. So calling your senators, raising the alarms and the issues that you are concerned with goes a long way. Thank you so much, Tricia, for bringing that comment into the conversation. I want to talk to Demetrius, listening to us from Cleveland. Brother, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. Always a pleasure speaking with you. You're keeping it real.
And you too, Ms. Sharpie. I'm glad to talk to you. I just want to speak. There's some other, genocide. Genocide has been happening in Gaza. We have a genocide here in the United States as well.
Yes.
When it comes to the cutting of the medical care, for the citizens here in America, because some children go without food, and with the propaganda put out concerning the different medicines, that Robert Kennedy Jr. Emphasizing would cause people to not to be inoculated for smallpox and other various diseases. We're going to cause death. Mm-hmm. And also, within the black community, with killings that are taking place, especially among the youth, over petty issues. So we have to really take control of our youth.
Absolutely.
And try to change the mentality that been passed on, among our people, to not to be self-destructive and feel our lives is less valuable than any other lives, but to try to, build our businesses in our community and be good role models for the youth, and try to do business among each other, and not to be envious, but to know we can achieve the same things as any other race. Mm-hmm. Because even though there's forces on the outside holding us down with racism and not providing the same medical, same economical incentives that they give other people. But at the same time, we have to unite, and take advantage of the opportunities we do have and spend the money wisely, within our community and support good black entrepreneurs. And also, we can't be make sure our families don't get divided up, by the social media. We have to communicate among each other. We sit at the dinner table, and also we can't let outside moral that's bad affect our families. When they don't want to imitate behavior of those who oppress us. At the same time, we don't want, especially the black male, to be broken down, not to stand up as a man supposed to, because even during slavery, try to break down the black male, try to feminize the male. We can make sure it doesn't happen today. Because there's some men who's strong, they should be men. They should not feel like we have to give up their manhood just to make a society. We don't want to become another Sodom and Gomorrah. We have to stand up and be men.
That's right.
Thank you very much.
Stand up. Speak up.
Yep.
I see this brother Tim talking about POS. I guess he talking about Power of the Sisters, because we going to check Tim on that message board. It's Dominique Sharpton sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls across the country, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Joining James Brown, Muhammad Ali, and myself now from New York City is the Reverend Al Sharpton. And Mr. Brown, James, I'd like to ask you about this young man, how you came to meet him, and what the National Youth Movement, which he represents, is all about. Tell me something about that.
It's about teaching young kids the right way to go, and the things to be involved in education. Don't be a dropout, which is one thing I'm very much behind. Unless kids have guidance, they have no place to go. And the idea is to try to mold them. I mean, we think of anything, we think of it as a baby. And what we molded them to be is what it will be later on. He used to stand at my back door, and he believed in what I said, the Don't Be a Dropout program, and the fact of helping kids and giving them the right idol and the right image to go with, cleaning, grooming, and wanting to work, wanting to be something. I started as a kid, a juvenile delinquent, and everything. Had no model. And I was able to be a model for a young man like this. And what he turned out to be, he's a minister, and he preaches the right thing, and I'm for him 1,000%. I'm for everything he's about.
Mr. Sharpton, how national right now is the National Youth Movement? Is it something new? Has it been going on for a while? Do you have a stated number of members? Tell me something about it.
Well, we don't really get into a numbers game, because that's been a trick that has been played for the last 20 years. What we're basically interested in doing is saying to young people of impoverished backgrounds that there are people like a Muhammad Ali and a James Brown that represents hope to us. Because these people, despite all of the social odds, despite the unemployment statistics, despite the lack of education in their day, were able to grow and be something that we can be proud of. A man like me didn't have a father at home, but I had a James Brown to look up to and would want to sing and dance like him, or Muhammad Ali, who I saw stand up and give away millions of dollars of stamps to the government so that I would have a right to come 10 or 20 years later and try to fight for my kids. So what we're saying is there are symbols and images that kids can look up to and not have to throw a brick through a window, but that can work by the sweat of their brow and succeed just like these two gentlemen did.
But considering the numbers of young kids today, and Rev, there are hundreds of thousands or tens of thousands of kids who really are in hopeless and desperate situations, is it enough to just offer them an example?
You say hopeless, though. Not hopeless.
Well, let's say, to them, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids,
it's never hopeless. There's no such thing as hopeless. It's never hopeless. When I got 8 to 16 years for breaking and entering as a kid, because I was hungry, and here I am today, it's not hopeless. Just don't say hopeless. Then we're carving out. I don't believe in hopeless. Don't you think it's hope? If you believe in something, try it. No such hopeless. I don't believe in hopeless. We're not going to go with that. And I think he's not about teaching them how to get out and fight for themselves. That's what it's about. No, it's not hopeless. Everybody has a cause and everything, but everybody want to live. And I think living is what we're about. We're not going to teach dying. Hopeless is dying.
I agree with you 100%, James. But what I'm trying to ask here is simply saying, you too can be a James Brown or a Muhammad Ali. Is that enough to give a kid who's hungry, who doesn't know where his next meal is coming?
I'll say it.
Give him somewhere to go.
I think it's awful weak to tell a kid you can be a James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers in the world, and me, one of the greatest fighters. And like you said, the hundreds of thousands of millions of kids that need a break. You can't have that many great people, but they can get educated. They can go to school. They can learn. I'd like to say one thing. We have crime today. It's a big problem. I think they took a national vote on what the people want the government to spend most of the money on, and crime was over national defense. Worrying about Russia, China, outside enemies, they're worrying about inside crime. We have crime today, all type, prostitution, murder, exploitation, degradation, and wars of all kinds. And I'm gonna tell you why everything's happening. And I think if you're intelligent, you agree with it. If we were riding an airplane and the two pilots died for some reason, is there anybody in this room that can go in the cockpit, pick up the radio, start working it, bring the plane in, depressurize it as it land, and make it, and late at night on a stormy day? You couldn't do it.
Right.
Well, but if you learn how to fly, or if they show you how to fly, you can. Since God made the world and God made us, He sent the Bible, the Torah, the Quran, sent Moses, Jesus, Noah, to show us how to run the world. And God left His laws. If we don't follow His laws, then we crash.
Let me say this, though, Mr. Snyder, in response to your question to Mr. Brown, Mr. Ali. Yes, it is enough to begin with showing them an example, because before you get to education, you need motivation. If you don't have motivation to get out of the bed, you won't make school or the party. And what we try to do by showing a James Brown or Muhammad Ali is not that you can be a great champion maybe like Ali or a great entertainer like James Brown, but if you use the same initiative that they did to make him get up 5 in the morning and run 10 miles and just have a dream and to come back 3 times and accomplish that dream, to have more hits than anybody in the world, even when the music world wouldn't give him credit for it in terms of a James Brown. If you had that initiative to keep working at whatever it is that you're going to do, you can succeed. And what we're saying to them is you may not reach the plateau of public prominence of them, but if you can reach the personal discipline and personal motivation of them, you can reach a plateau in your life. Because it's not about looking for a government handout, it's about looking for a way out, as James Brown said.
All right, and then how receptive are the young people that you tell this to?
Very receptive.
Really?
Very receptive. Very receptive. I think that people have misunderstood that most people of impoverished and depressed areas are not looking for the government to give them something. They just want a chance. I remember when I was a little boy, James Brown used to sing, I don't want nobody to give me nothing, just open the door, I'll get it myself. Well, that's all people want now is a chance. Let me get a piece of the action. Let me get a piece of the pie. Let me stand up on my own.
All right. At one
man should have the major corporations, the government, should get behind him and push the programs that he's about.
Except maybe if he does it himself and gets grassroots support, it's better than having the government stick their nose in, because they have a way sometimes.
We're not talking about control.
Yeah.
We're not talking about control. We're talking about a way of start. You know, they have to start. If they fund Chrysler and fund all these different other things, they can fund a small man to get started. Then the private sector will join in, but let them help too. It should be.
Last thing. Somewhere along the line here tonight, we used a graphic saying long, hot summer. Are you in any way, I'm certain you're not predicting a long, hot summer. You're not predicting urban strife. You're not predicting disorder, anything like that.
Well, what I'm saying is, you know, at home you have an oven. There are flames on top of the oven, and then there's heat in the oven. We always discuss whether there'll be a flame on the top, and don't discuss it. There's already 600 degrees inside. I'm not concerned as much about a long, hot summer because it's been a long, hot winter. Yeah. People are unemployed.
Okay.
People are unemployed. People are getting their homes ripped off. Parents' pocketbooks being snatched. As Ali said, crime is at a highest rate it's ever been. So rather than us running around the streets looking for a brick, we should be looking at the fact the brick is already in most people's houses. How do we get the brick out of the house? How do we cool the long oven out? Let's not wait for the explosion and then just cut the flames off upstairs. Let's put the flame out inside. And the only way to do that is everybody to get up and work by the sweat of their brow in America and try to produce, be productive like these two gentlemen have been in their life against all odds. They came up in a world that was alien to them, and they made it. And we can make it if we have the same initiative they did.
Mr. Sharpton, it's been a pleasure to have you here tonight, and I've enjoyed meeting you very much.
Thank
you
you
for coming
much.
by, and thank you, James Brown, for being with us again. Kent, thank you for being here tonight.
1, 2, 3, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, hey, hey. feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got that feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. I got that. Ah! Baby, ow! Feeling, baby. Ow, ow, hey, hey, baby, 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 baby. Come on, sing it out. Baby, baby, come on. Baby, baby, baby. Can't hear you. Hey, hey. I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored.
There were many that were enslaved that left the plantation, said I'm free, and were recaptured and re-enslaved because the laws said that. Without them signing the laws that we fought for, how should we have gotten free?
Sharpton keeps it real.
Because you're raising things that you haven't thought out. There were slave rebellions that did. All right, then give me the answer. You haven't answered me yet. If you thought it out, give me the answer.
Asking the tough questions.
Well, see, here's the thing. I called him made a statement. Now you.
No, but I'm questioning your statement. You can question mine. You can question any statement I make. You can question any statement. Whoa. You can question any statement I make, but you cannot call here and tell me don't question the statement you make, brother.
Brothers gonna work it out. Be a part of the conversation. Just keep it real. Live from the National Action Network corporate headquarters in New York, keeping it real. And now, America's #1 civil rights leader, the Reverend Al Sharpton.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, Reverend Sharpton's eldest daughter. I'm sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls across the country. It's lit on Keeping It Real today. We want all of you to join us in this conversation. You too can call us and join in. Call us today at 1-877-532-5797, or you can join us via live stream on our message board, in our message board chat as we are watching via live stream at nationalactionnetwork.net. Got a lot to talk about today, and certainly we are talking about it and getting into the action, whether it be talking about what's happening as President Donald Trump is talking about a ceasefire exchange deal and dealing with the Israel and Hamas, and they've reached a preliminary hostage prisoner exchange deal for after many months now, and the war has killed over 67,000 Palestinians so far, and we've got a lot to talk about in terms of that, because what happens after the ceasefire deal has been implemented, what happens in terms of the ramifications of all those who have suffered because of this war, families who have been destroyed, and how do we deal with the reconstruction and relationships and dealing with how we come back from such a travesty as what we've been seeing in this instance. And that's on one end. On the other end, we know that we are dealing right now with a government shutdown. Many people are feeling that, from federal workers, federal government workers, to the airstrike, and people, feeling dismayed about traveling, and all that's going on. And we are also dealing, of course, with what's happening in our own backyard. And how we can, of course, rise to the occasion and unify and deal with how we take action. And so with all that's going on, and we know we want to talk about it and be about it, so we are talking about it today on Keeping It Real. But with this, also with the government shutdown and dealing with, how President Trump has deployed National Guards in many cities, in the city, of course, of Washington, D.C., and how literally now federal judges having to, intervene. And if we're seeing it happening in Illinois and Oregon, where federal judges will actually hear cases testing President Trump's actual authority to deploy federalized National Guard troops in states that oppose the move. We're talking about that. We're talking about how tensions are rising amidst these threats to invoke an insurrection act. We've been talking about the insurrection act and talking about how violence, of course, will, ensure that, over time. And as 500, as they say, National Guard troops now, including some from Texas, patrol near Chicago. Many people are accusing Donald Trump of using brute force tactics to actually inflame protests. And so we're talking about demonstrations and the value of that, and how people are literally in an uproar and crying out for help, for attention, for a victory, for some type of assistance in terms of how we can get through these moments and deal with what is confronting us at a very, very rapid pace. And so we've got to do our due diligence. We've got to vote. I know a lot of people are going to talk about that. We've got to really be determined in the midterm elections to vote. We've got to figure out, of course, the course of action moving forward as we are dealing with the government shutdown, as we are facing, cuts in healthcare and so many other necessities that we need to live. Literally, we're facing all of that. And so the question becomes not how we do it, but what we do and when we do it. And I think that we need to continue to not only inform our people, but we've got to inform ourselves and equip ourselves with what we need to really get involved in this moment and deal with what we need to do. But right now we're going to talk about it, and we're going to keep elevating the conversation that needs to happen. And hopefully we can continue to inform each other and unite us in that way as we come together. Let's go to Woody. Woody's listening to us from Philadelphia on WURD. Woody, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. We can't hear you, Woody. Hello? All right, Woody. I guess you're listening to us. You don't know you're on the air, but you're on the air, Woody. All right. Let's go to Queen on line 4, listening to us from Cincinnati on the Buzz. Queen, you're keeping it real. Are you there?
What's up? What's up, Dominique?
What's going on?
Hey, young lady, I've been listening to these radio stations for years, and growing up in Cincinnati, the way it is now, it's a hate, shoot 'em up, bang, bang town. And you talk
Cincinnati?
about the president.
No, I can't believe that.
And you talk about the natty, the president, he's not doing a good job. For me, I see slavery through the immigration. And Dominique, you and I both know this is a stolen country. Am I right or am I wrong?
Yeah, no, my people built this country for nothing, so I know what you're talking about.
Okay, well, on that strip alone, we're not going to get respect throughout the world until we pay our reparations. I mean, living in a stolen country alone is enough to pay us. But, young lady, before you hang up, I've been contemplating two things. Our history as the melanin on this earth, it's the melanin on this earth that gave birth to the entire human race. Now, there might be other types of beings all over the world, all over the universe and other earths and other worlds. But on this earth, it's melanin that gives birth to the entire human race, and the people are us. And our race alone have to deal with crime, hate, and poverty. And there's one particular word that's used more than Jesus Christ. And you have to give me autonomy. You got to give me autonomy, full autonomy to say the word, because I found a new definition for it. Are you ready for it? Because your father says that he can deal with any conversation that we have for him. That's y'all motto. So you got to give me full autonomy to say it and then define it.
Okay, I don't know where this is going, but I'm here.
Okay, the word is nigger.
Can't do that.
Can't do that one. Can't do that one. We can't do that one now. But
Then let me say the N word and let me define
yeah,
it.
that's
Okay?
let's respect. Okay.
Okay, let me define it. It means a person who can be had.
Is that it?
Well, if you have to understand it in more terms, the better way to say it is an MF who can be had, will be had, and gonna be had. And
Sound
then
like you
have
just
to
wanted
look
to
at
say that word to me, sister. I don't know. I was trying to hang on and see where this was going. But Queen, I don't know. I'm going to have to leave it there. Thank you so much for your call, and I hear that music. So we're going to have to take this break. Dominique Sharpton, I am sitting in for the Rev. We keeping it real, y'all, today. You can join in on the conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Hey, Dominic.
What up, big brother? You good?
I've been talking about you all day on TV.
We have a young man in the studio who I think is an astounding young brother because of his youth. He's only 19 years old and he's accomplished a lot, and he's here to make a presentation to James Brown, and we'd like to welcome him warmly. His name is Al Sharpton. How about it for Al Sharpton? Al is the national director of the National Youth Movement Incorporated. Right, Al?
That's right.
And what do we have here?
Well, we come to break tradition. We know that in the recording industry that they give a gold record to those that achieve a million seller. But we view your million seller payback as a black record because it is relevant and says many of the things that young blacks have tried to say and could not musically express in our own little way. And we feel the payback is sort of like the theme song of Young Black America in 1974.
Now, before you go into the title tune of your latest album, you have a special guest.
Yeah, I do have a special guest, a young
that's
lady.
going to perform with you.
Yeah, she gonna.
Democratic presidential candidate, Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you. Tonight, I want to address my remarks in two parts. One, I'm honored to address the delegates here. Last Friday, I had the experience in Detroit of hearing President George Bush make a speech. And in the speech, he asked certain questions. I hope he's watching tonight. I would like to answer your questions, Mr. President. To our chairman, our delegates, and all that are assembled, we're honored and glad to be here tonight. I'm glad to be joined by supporters and friends from around the country. I'm glad to be joined by my family, Kathy, Dominique, who will be 18, and Ashley. We are here 282 years after, right here in Boston, we fought to establish the freedoms of America. The first person to die in the Revolutionary War is buried not far from here, a black man from Barbados named Crispus Attucks. 40 years ago, in 1964, Fannie Lou Hamer and the Mississippi Freedom Democratic Party stood at the Democratic Convention in Atlantic City fighting to preserve voting rights for all Americans and all Democrats regardless of race or gender. Hamer's stand inspired Dr. King's March in Selma, which brought about the Voting Rights Act of 1965. 20 years ago, Reverend Jesse Jackson stood at the Democratic National Convention in San Francisco, again appealing to preserve those freedoms. Tonight, we stand with those freedoms at risk and our security as citizens in question. I have come here tonight to say the only choice we have to preserve our freedom at this point in history is to elect John Kerry, the President of the United States. I stood with both John Kerry and John Edwards over 30 occasions in debates during the primary season. I narrated them, I watched them. I observed their deeds. I looked into their eyes. I am convinced that they are men who say what they mean and mean what they say. I am also convinced that at a time when a vicious spirit in the body politic of this country that attempts to undermine America's freedoms, our civil rights, our civil liberties, we must leave this city and go forth and organize this nation for victory for our party and John Kerry and John Edwards in November. But let me quickly say, this is not just about winning an election. It's about preserving the principles on which this very nation was founded. Look at the current view of our nation worldwide as a result of our unilateral foreign policy. We went from unprecedented international support and solidarity on September 12, 2001, to hostility and hatred as we stand here tonight. We can't survive in the world by ourselves. How did we squander this opportunity to unite the world for democracy and to commit to the global fight against hunger and disease? We did it with a go-it-alone foreign policy based on flawed intelligence. We were told that we were going to Iraq because there were weapons of mass destruction. We lost hundreds of soldiers. We spent $200 billion at a time we had record state deficits. And when it became clear that there were no weapons, they changed the premise for the war and said, no, we went because of other reasons. If I told you tonight to let's leave the Fleet Center, we're in danger. And when you get outside, you ask me, Reverend Al, what is the danger? And I say, it don't matter, we just needed some fresh air. I have misled you, and we were misled. We are also faced with the prospect of, in the next 4 years, that 2 or more Supreme Court justices seats will become available. This year, we celebrated the anniversary of Brown versus the Board of Education. This court has voted 5-4 on critical issues of women's rights and civil rights. It is frightening to think that the gains of civil and women's rights and those movements in the last century could be reversed if this administration is in the White House in these next 4 years. I suggest to you tonight that if George Bush had selected the court in '54, Clarence Thomas would have never got to law school.
We're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, sitting in for the Rev today. Taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, and we'll be joined momentarily by Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, as we are every Thursday. But it is the power of the Sisters Day on Keeping It Real. Y'all just heard from Queen. And you know what? During the break, Queen, thank you for your call. But during the break, those of you who were on the message board and watching us via live stream, you saw Reverend Sharpton's speech that he made at the Democratic National Convention in 2004, the same year that he was on the ballot and running for president of the United States. And he talked about many things, but one being reparations. Sister Queen was talking about reparations, and she's right. In retrospect, we do, and we are owed reparations. Those of you who understand this conversation, we can have it all day. But yes, he did talk about reparations, and many people who have, been privy to this and who were able to break through into mainstream media to bring these elements of conversation on a national level. Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee, rest her soul, made this a very, very important part of her fight as she was in office. But reparations is very important, and I think that we need to not only continue to raise those elements into conversation and into the mainstream conversation of politics, but we need to actually work for that. So Sister Queen was not wrong in terms of the fact that we are definitely owed reparations, but how do we get there is the question. And when we're dealing with issues where we're literally losing our health care, we're losing access to to quality jobs, and we're losing access to to benefits that we worked really hard through many generations to fight for and to obtain. Not to say that reparations goes on the back burner, but we have to continue to find how we elevate our concerns in a meaningful way, in a practical way, and staying true to the action that's going to take to really see these things all the way through. So I definitely agree with her in terms of that aspect of the conversation. And I definitely feel that we have to keep moving these elements of these conversations into fruition and into action so that we can see them come to light, because they are very important. Our message board, Brother Fatine calls Mrs. Jones Austin the sophisticated lady on the open line show on WBLS here in New York City. Yes, he does. And we are looking forward to Sister Jennifer joining us. Brother Rodney Jones, always a pleasure seeing you on the message board and hearing from you on Keeping It Real. We are taking your calls, and you can join in on the conversation by calling us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. Let's go to Andre J on line 5, listening to us from Chicago, from Chi-Town. Andre J, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon, brother.
Good afternoon. How you doing, Dominique?
I'm all right. How are you?
I'm okay. Good. Thank you for filling in today. Hey, the first thing I want to say is that a Nobel Peace Prize usually come unsolicited. Usually when somebody gets the Nobel Peace Prize is because of their efforts. Well, this man here, Trump, he's doing things to try and get the Nobel Peace Prize. And to me, that makes it lose its significance because he's actively trying and asking for a peace prize. So that don't sit well with me. When Obama got it and other people got it, Dr. King, they wasn't trying to get a peace prize. They got it.
Right.
Last thing I want to know is that this picture of Hakeem Jeffrey with this sombrero on, isn't that a form of character assassination? And if the attorney comes on, could you ask her, is it possible that Hakeem Jeffrey could sue? Because Donald Trump sues for everything. If you blow your nose wrong, Donald Trump is suing for everything. He don't care if he wins or loses. So I think the Democrats ought to do the same thing whenever Trump clown and do these type of things. They should file a suit, and if enough people file suit, then maybe he'll stop some of this foolishness. Because that's character assassination, to lie and say that they want to defund the government. I mean, they want to support the government shutdown because they want to give illegal immigrants health care. Those are a bunch of lies. So I think that Hakeem Jeffrey get their attorneys and file suit for that kind of stuff, and libel and slander, because libel and slander and character assassination is not protected, cannot protect the speech under the amendments. You know, I forget what they is, but that's not protected speech.
But
So
you notice how
when
these
you're
things, they say these things and they never tell you how they're going to do it. Like Project 2025 was laid out. We all saw that. And they were true to that, right? They're being true to that. But there's so many things that are coming out that they are saying that they're not explaining how they're going to do it. And you see these candidates get up in posture and I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Well, how are you going to do it? Like, explain to us exactly how this works, because to me, I'm not seeing that part of it. So to me, it's just blubberish until you can actually give me a plan as to how you're going to accomplish these things.
Yeah, exactly. I'm with you on that. And this is what I say about the latest candidate here in Chicago running for Congress, is Jesse Jackson Jr. What I'd like to know is, I'd like to hear his platform. I'd like to hear him talk first before I'm making a judgment.
Well, he just made the announcement. I mean, wait, he just made the announcement just a few days ago, right?
Exactly. You don't have to defend him.
I ain't defending him. I'm just saying he just got up out there now.
Yeah, he did. But what I'm saying is that I would still like to hear his comments before I make a decision. That's what I said.
Okay.
On whether or not I support him or not. So back to your question, you're talking about you want them to not just talk, you want them to be effective. I'm the same way when it comes to him to reach his announcement. If he can go to Washington and be effective, then support him. If you go there just be a figurehead, I say no. That's all I'm saying, Dominique.
I agree. I agree with you there. I agree with you there.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying, because we do have a lot of posses they talk. And another thing, I mean, why do we only see them during election time? I mean, you don't hear it from these politicians till the time of election. But when you're struggling and going through stuff, you don't hear from a lot of them. They come out at election time and say, vote for me, I'll set you free. I don't buy it. That's all I want today, and I want to say hello to you, Dominique.
I want to say hi back. Thank you so much. You always keep it real, and thank you for always calling in, especially when I'm hosting. I really appreciate that. I really appreciate the support and encouragement, and it means a lot. It does mean a lot, and it does mean a lot to have meaningful conversation with people across the country. You live in Chicago, I'm in New York. We got folks on the West Coast and everywhere, and we got to talk about it. And we see that a lot of our issues are parallel, right? But when it comes down to unifying, coming together, we can have the conversation, and we can even disagree on some parts of the conversation. But how are we going to really accomplish what we need to together? We need each other. And so I appreciate that. I appreciate talking in the spirit of unity. I appreciate talking in the spirit of unity to uplift power. So thank you so much for that. Power of the Sisters. I'm going with that. Happiness Donuts. Power of the Sisters. I'm going to be joined momentarily by our powerful sister Jennifer Jones Austin. But let's talk with some more powerful sisters. I'm going to my sister Pam in Chicago. Pam, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Dominique. Good to hear you. And let me just say, you hold your own. You're just not resting on what, your dad has done, Reverend Sharpton. I hear you, and you hold your own on the topics, and what you don't know, you openly admit, but you're well-versed on a lot of things, and we appreciate that.
Oh, well, thank you.
And, no, I'm serious, and I don't think Reverend Sharpton would have you just sit in just because you're his daughter if he didn't think you could, take on this mantle. So having said that, let me just say happy belated birthday to Reverend Sharpton. I hope he's celebrating for the entire month of October, as well as to Reverend Jesse Jackson. I hope both of them are celebrating the entire month of October because they're beloved, they're loved, and we appreciate all that they have done because their work has made much of what we call success, Dominique, possible, opportunities possible. And that's for every person who is under the sound of my voice. They have contributed to this country and to this world, and I appreciate that. So thank you. And then the families. I know you all have had some sacrifices, living, with, one parent under threat.
Every day.
But staying the course. And we appreciate the sacrifice. I know I do. And I try to show it in many, many ways. But I also try to, articulate it to you when I hear you on the air and to Reverend.
Thank you.
So let me just, with your issue on reparations, let me be clear. The people who voted for this adjudicated sexual abuser and this administration, because one of the reasons they didn't support Harris was because of reparations. She wasn't strong on reparations. Democratic Party didn't produce reparations. Well, what is the administration producing on reparations?
Ooh.
Nothing.
That's a
But
good
to
one
white
there,
South
Pam.
Africans,
That's a good one there. I don't know if you want to hold on, but I see this music is playing. I don't want them to cut off our powerful sisters. So we're going to have to take this break, Pam. Dominique Sharpton, I'm sitting in for Rev. Attorney Jennifer Jones-Austin will be joining us, but you can also join us in the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
Please receive one of the greatest voices for the urban community. One, amen. Not them yet. This is one of the greatest voices, not many of the greatest voices. We're going to adjust the program quickly at this time. This man has spoken out. He stood on the front line. He has been a man for the people, of the people. Please receive Reverend Al Sharpton.
Thank you, Bishop. To the Franklin family and to all of us gathered, Aretha Franklin was not only an unparalleled artist, she was a civil rights activist and freedom fighter. It is easy to celebrate the gifts that God gives. It is more difficult when someone uses those gifts in ways that enhances humanity. Aretha Franklin was given special gifts, but she used it in a special way. And she would not want us to celebrate her without talking about she stood for something. She never shamed us. She never disgraced us. She never made us make excuses for her. She represented the best in our community, and she fought for our community until the end. I first met Miss Franklin when I was a teenager. I'd become youth director of New York Operation Breadbasket, and she would come to the strategy meetings with Reverend Jackson. And I would hear the stories of how when Dr. Martin Luther King couldn't make payroll, Harry Belafonte and Aretha Franklin went on an 11-city tour to raise money for Martin Luther King. A lot of artists hang up Dr. King's photo, but Aretha went and raised money and gave it and worked free. Her daddy marched with Dr. King, and she never stopped supporting. As the years went by and I developed National Action Network, and she would call my radio show and have me come to her affairs. She called me one day. She said, Red Mal, I want to send you something. I said, yes, ma'am. She said, what's your home address? And she sent it. About 3 days later, I got a check made out National Action Network signed by Aretha Franklin. I saw about a month later, I said, you know, I was so blown away. I grew up looking up to you that I framed that check. She said, boy, don't you have a copy machine? She said, you don't know how I am with my bank accounts. You better cash that check and... But all of her life, she supported the causes. She was a feminist before feminism was popular. She was a civil rights activist when it wasn't popular. She gave us pride, and she gave us a regal bar to reach. And that's why we're all here. We don't all agree on everything, but we agree on Aretha. And she fought for everybody. I remember when we were used to picket, Charles Williams and all of us jumping on the record industry, she said, now y'all leave Clive Davis alone. He's one of the good ones. She loved Clive and said, we got to remember what happened to the Irish and what happened to Jews and what happened to blacks. And that is why we remember her legacy, because she sang a song for all of us. She was the soundtrack of the civil rights movement. If you track where we are, you can follow where Aretha had us. That's why when I look at her and James Brown, whose daughter is here, and others, who paid a price, that opened the door, but never forgot where they came from. She was rooted in the black church. She was bathed in the black church. And she took the black church downtown and made folks that didn't know what the Holy Ghost was shout in the middle of a concert. You never saw her perform without her doing gospel, because she never was one to forget where she came from. And that's why we give her this great homegoing. We thank her for what she did with Dr. King. We thank her for what she's done with Reverend Jackson. We thank her for what she's done with all of us. And that is why, you know, the other Sunday on my show, I misspelled respect. And a lot of y'all corrected me. Now I want y'all to help me correct President Trump to teach him what it means. And I say that because when word had went out that Miss Franklin passed, Trump said she used to work for me. No, she used to perform for you. She worked for us. Aretha never took orders from nobody but God. So Aretha, as you get your rest, my mother passed about 6 years ago. President Clinton, my mother and I had a deal. She said, I'll meet you on the other side.
Keeping it real.
The way you're supposed to.
Keeping it real. I'm Dominique Sharpton, sitting in for the Rev today, taking your calls. 1-877-532-5797. 1-877-532-5797. Or you can join our illustrious message board at www.nationalactionnetwork.net. I don't know if Pam from Chicago is still on. We lost
no,
him?
ma'am. No, ma'am. Yeah,
All right. Well, let's go to Todd. Todd's listening to us from Cleveland, Ohio. Todd, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Oh, he's waiting for Jennifer Jones. Hold on one second.
Okay.
You know,
Tell me who we talking to, Dallas.
Woody, Percy.
All right. Let's go to Woody then. Woody's in Philly, listening on WURD. Woody, if you're there, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. All right. I don't know where my people are, but democracy.fun is on the message board, lighting it up. So thank you so much for all your comments. You're saying that you haven't seen any evidence from Mamdani that he'll be pursuing guidance from National Action Network. He appears to me as a performative opportunist. What's his opinion on Muslim Brotherhood? And let me just say this, and I won't prolong this comment, but yes. Mamdani has been obviously to many National Action Network events. He is one who is running for mayor of New York City, and we are a few days away from the election. Hello? Hi, who's this? Hello.
This is Woody.
Hi, Woody. How you doing?
Hollering before.
Okay, hold on one second. Let me just get through this comment. I just want to just finish this. But no, National Action Network does not officially endorse any candidates. Reverend Sharpton nor myself have neither endorsed a particular candidate. But National Action Network is a platform where candidates come to not only voice their concerns and their agenda for what they're going to do for us, but we open that platform because we believe in voters and we believe in the power of our vote. And we do believe that inviting all the candidates who are running to have this platform where they can come to National Action Network and speak their agenda is important because we feel that no matter what you may feel in terms of how the conversation goes or what they decide, their posturing or whatever it is to really entice the Black vote. All of that may necessarily be true, but they do come to National Action Network because they know that there are believers in the vote that are a part of National Action Network. There are activists who are on the ground fighting daily, who will hold them accountable. Not only that, but also who believe in democracy, who believe in what we're doing in terms of how demonstration affects policy on a grand level. And so candidates do come to National Action Network on many different occasions to talk about that platform and to also energize the vote in terms of how we are going to make our decisions when it comes to election day. So we do believe in creating that platform and having that platform and igniting that platform where candidates can come and really address those voters that they feel is very important and we feel is very important. And so we're going to continue doing that. We're going to continue elevating that platform to have candidates to be able to come and address us. And we do believe that it is important. So no, we're not necessarily endorsing any one particular candidate. You may see some candidates that show up more than others, and that's just what it is. But to say that National Action Network is endorsing someone because you see them frequently is not the case at all. But we do believe in continuing to open that platform for candidates to be able to come and address us. It's very important, and we hope that you take it just as seriously as we do. Thank you so much for that comment, though. Brother Woody from Philadelphia, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon, my brother. I'm so sorry you were talking to us and we just could not hear you.
Well, don't you be sorry, because you're doing such an excellent job. Basically, that's basically what I was calling about. You just got it in your blood, and it's a wonderful thing to be able to communicate because there's a lot of people that can't. And I share that with a lot of my customers, a lot of the brothers that have come through that have had mothers that weren't communicators. Mm-hmm. Nothing's greater. My mother was my best friend. And there was no other form of communication better than her. I learned from her, and then just about all the girlfriends I ever had a little something that I liked about them that had to do with how my mother was.
Oh, boy.
we can not talk about that to a woman, per se, directly, but I saw something, because ladies want to feel like they're 100% whatever it is that you're looking for, no problem. But my search, and I found my attraction, always had a lot to do with something motherly. And there's nothing greater on the planet than a mother. And even the planet itself calls itself Mother, Mother Earth.
Yes.
So I just thank you, sister, for sharing your motherly ways on the air with millions and millions of people around the world, because believe me, they hear you and they feel you. Some people can't explain in words. I'm a poet, so I write a lot of my feelings, and then I read them back to myself and say, wow, that's deep. You know, a thought is simply a word not put down on paper yet. So when you finally put it down and you study it, wow, more and more comes out of it. It's like a mother. From that womb, here comes a child. And that child developed somebody like an Al Sharpton. You see what I'm saying? Never knowing, where was this guy going to go? How far was he going to make? Just from out of that womb, you never know what's coming. That's how magnificent the order that God put together in our creation is.
That's
and
right.
I love it because, Mother, I appreciate you. I just want
Thank
you to
you.
know it.
Thank you. And there's something special in all of us. We all created with, a very special gift that sets us apart from the next person. We're all unique individuals, and we all bring a special skill to this world. And it's up to us to exercise that skill and to develop that and to nurture that skill, because that's the skill that God gave us to live and to thrive on this green earth. And so thank you so much for raising that. And I hope that all of us just tap into, our purpose and why we are here on this earth. It's not, and I think that when we really look at purpose in terms of our own individual selves, and however we identify what our purpose is, I bet you it has something to do with doing things for others. That purpose is not just for self-serving. That purpose is to shed light and to ignite others in a very meaningful way, and whatever it is that you feel your purpose is. And so I feel like it is our due diligence, right, to find out what it is that we are created to do, what it is that we are here on this earth to execute, and to really, really develop and really go forward with that. So if I don't say anything else, if you don't hear anything else I say today, we all created for something special to do on this earth. And it's our due diligence, it's our responsibility to make that dream happen. So thank you so much, Woody, for your call. And thank you for keeping it real. Let's go to Lola. Lola's listening to us on line 8. Also listening to us from Philadelphia on WURD. Lola, you're keeping it real. Good afternoon. Lola, are you there?
Lola literally just hung up. Right now we have line 6 and 7.
All right, let's go to line 6. I don't know who is on line 6, but let's go to line 6. Who's on line 6? You're keeping it real.
Hello?
Hello.
Dominique, can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Is this Lola?
Hi, Dominique. It's Lola. Yes, it's so good to talk to you. I haven't talked to you in a while, so it's good to talk to you.
Same here. How you doing, sister?
I'm doing good. So I was calling in to say, you see what Trump is doing. Now he's going after Reverend Al. He's going after everybody black who is trying to challenge him. He's going after, and this is in the old playbook, going after Reverend Al. Now he's talking about arresting the mayor of Chicago, doing all these different things to all the black people. Even saying like, okay, let's arrest the mayor of Chicago, but not anything like to the white mayors of all these other states, or the governors, like Governor Abbott or any of those other people.
Right.
So I think that we have to keep vigilant. We have to be focused. We can't forget what's going on, and make sure we get out and vote in May. And we can't let anything nefarious let them hold us back. Because if he thinks that he can run for a third term, he can't be the only one. Then Obama gets to run again, or somebody else that we want to run. Somebody else gets to run again. You don't just get to run for 3 terms or try to hold up the election and think that, that's just going to go the way it does. And then I said before to Reverend Al, when the Democrats get back in, we really need to, Dominique, but we need to be talking about it now and making it happen. Action. Like, do the talk now because we're not in power, but we really need to get in there and change these laws. The Constitution is only worth the paper it's written on. It's
That's
like
right.
when you have somebody who gets a restraining order. The restraining order is only worth worth as good as the paper that it's written on, if it's not really executed. And so he's shown that it's only the Constitution and all these laws and everything are only good as the worth the paper that they're on. And thinking that human beings, regular human beings, we got to think about this. These politicians, these congressmen, these senators who are following Trump, they're human beings just like anybody else. They're afraid, but they're also leaning into what their whiteness will protect them, and they're following behind him. And so we can't think that we can rely on human beings to do the right thing. We have to have these things written down. We have to have these things like, if you do X, Y, and Z, you're going to get A, B, and C. We can't just rely on going over, crossing the lines. That's stuff we've seen, Dominique, and I just want to stress this so much. We've seen that it doesn't work. Trump has showed us he's pushed the boundaries. All this going across the line because we're friends after work and we work in Washington and you're a Democrat and I'm Republican, so when I see you after work, we're cool, but you're destroying the American country, that can't fly with us. Mm-hmm. We have to have the Dems right now have better things that they're going to do for us and say, when we get back into power, don't be afraid to say the stuff. Don't be afraid to do the stuff. We don't want you to be nice. We want you to be, okay, you can be professional. Just like we all go to work and be professional. I don't go to work and call people out their names, but I know in my back of my mind, I know what they up to. So you know what they up to. They've shown you. So now you got to be able to say, now when we get back in power, this is what we're going to do. We're going to pass these acts. We're going to use executive order to do everything we want to do because you've done it. And not saying to go in there and do stuff bad, but do the right things to push this country forward. Yes. So when they get back in, they can't keep dilly-dallying with us.
That's Lola, y'all. Thank you so much, sister, for your call, for keeping it real. I hear that music, so we're going to have to take a break. It's Dominique Sharpton. I'm sitting in for the Rev, taking your calls across the country. Join us in conversation, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
What up, big brother? You good?
I'm talking about you all day on TV.
This is where it all starts.
How are you?
Highly favored. Highly favored.
Thank you.
Some people report the news, others interpret it, but there are those who transform it into truth. Ari Melba has redefined journalism with intellect, creativity, and courage. He blends culture and current events, politics and poetry, truth and transparency. And in doing so, he reminds us that storytelling is a sacred work. Ari understands that our narratives shape our nation, and he has used his platform to highlight issues that matter to the people, not just to the powerful. Tonight, we honor him for bridging art and activism, for using his voice to educate, inspire, and empower. Join me, please, in celebrating Ari Melba, recipient of the President's Award of Historic Transformative Leadership.
Good evening. Thanks for having me. How are you guys doing? First of all, Babyface is 67 years old. We might need a fact check on that. What an honor to be up here with Rev and everyone else. When Rev started out, they said, he's just doing this to get on TV. Now he has a TV show. He kept along and they said, well, he's just setting himself up to run for office, be a politician. Now he has the politicians coming here to be accountable to you. We're celebrating his 71st birthday, God bless. I don't think he's planning to run for office in his late 70s or 80s, although people do that nowadays. I don't know if you've heard. So as far as I can tell, maybe he was doing it for the people. Maybe he was doing it for voting rights and human rights and being an advocate for people in communities where when bad things do happen, they don't have a local advocate or a federal advocate. Or suddenly it doesn't feel like they have anyone who cares about what's happening to them. So it's funny, in the middle you can't always prove the case, but by this stage in his illustrious contributions to the United States, he's doing it for everyone. So shout out to Rev. I'm really honored to get this award. My grandmother was a refugee. My father's an immigrant. Like a lot of other people that I get to interact with, I'm very aware that my worst days are better than some of their best days. And so I keep that in mind, and I know Rev does and a lot of other people do. This award was called Leadership in the Arts. I'm honored by it. I love the arts. I won't say whether I've ascended to being a leader in the arts, but I will share with you the leaders I learned from. I learned civil rights from Sam Cooke. I learned about colonialism from Bob Marley. I learned about activism from Gil Scott-Heron. He said the revolution will not be televised. We're working on that. Reb and I are working on that. I learned about the media from KRS-One. I learned about politics from Public Enemy. I learned about police brutality from Tupac and about feminism from Lauryn Hill. So when I was growing up, I did okay in school, but I was quickly learning as a teenager there was all of these parts that weren't in the official story, but they were true. So yes, we try to reflect some of that in our reporting. In times like this right now in America, art and free speech are under attack. It's not just the historians, bless them. It's not just the normal newspaper reporters, bless them. It's also the comedians, from Kimmel to D.L. Hughley. It's also the artists. We've seen the crackdowns on people who sing or share their thoughts through other forms of expression. And so, in a moment like this, as we've seen in, unfortunately, other countries around the world, it feels like just telling the truth becomes a radical act. That's a bad sign for the health of your democracy. But the truth can help redeem our democracy. So I'll end with a bar. Is that all right? Should we do one bar? From New York's own Jay-Z, Sean Carter, Hove. He's talking about people that might not be truthful with you, that might not keep it a buck. And he said, they're all actors, looking at themselves in the mirror backwards. Can't even face themselves, don't fear no rappers. They're all weirdos, De Niro's in practice. So don't believe everything your earlobe captures. It's mostly backwards. Unless it happens to be as accurate as me. And everything said in song you happen to see. Then actually believe half of what you see. None of what you hear, even if it's spat by me. So we will keep spitting facts with the humble confidence of Sean Carter on our best day. And you can keep making up your own mind, because we gonna be all right. Thank you. Thank you.
So good. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone. I am humbled and grateful to be here with you tonight. I love you too. I love you too. It seems like I've known Reverend Al Sharpton all my life. My mom was such a fan of his, and I've seen him through my life in LA at MCA Records. When I was there, he'd come through, you know, and get those people straight about our contracts and talk about that. And I haven't been honored a lot. Maybe this is my second time, and I'm 68 years old. And I've been in this business my entire life. I've never done what you would call a real job. But I am truly honored and I'm thankful, and I love us. I love my black people. And I fight for us, and I want the women, the black women, to really know their worth. Know that they're queens. That's important to me. That's how my mother raised me. My mother was militant, I guess, when it wasn't off, trendy, yes. Because when I was a little girl, my mother and father would drive in Brooklyn. I'm from Brooklyn, Bed-Stuy, do or die. And when she would see police officers handling black children or a black boy or a girl, she would have my father stop and say, she'd get out of the car and she'd say, "What's going on here? Wait a minute, what you doing?" All the time. So it's natural that I'm that way because I'm so tired of seeing our black men beaten with handcuffs. They have handcuffs on. That's important to me. That's my fight. I want love in this world. We're living in some, I love you, I love you. I never knew love like this before. I can't sing because we just finished doing 3 shows back to back. And I flew in this morning and because Reverend Al wanted me to sing home. There's no way I could sing home, but.
Al Sharpton.
You're live.
Keeping it real. Keeping it real. I'm your host, Dominique Sharpton, sitting in for the Rev. Taking your calls across the country. You can join in on the conversation today. Call us at 1-877-532-5797, 1-877-532-5797. We're going back to the phone. Sister Jennifer Jones Austin will be joining us momentarily if she's not already on.
She's here.
Sister Jennifer, I'm hearing, is on. Good afternoon, Sister Jennifer. Thank you so much for joining us. We had so many people calling us and messaging us. Where is Attorney Jennifer Jones Austin? Well, the power of the sisters on this Thursday. Sister Jennifer is here in the house. Always a pleasure to have you joining us. Good afternoon, Sister Jennifer, and thank you for being with us on Keeping It Real today.
Good afternoon, and please forgive me for not being with you sooner. I was with our sister organization, the NAACP, and I was having a hard time getting away, so I apologize for that. And if I may just say, it was an honor, just a pleasure, a joy to be at the Triumph Awards Monday night, National Action Network's Triumph Awards, which were just incredible, spectacular on so many levels, honoring people doing the good work, including Babyface and Stephanie Mills. But I just needed to pause because in addition to that, in addition to recognizing your father, which we can never do enough of for all of his tremendous work and contributions, we just need to call you out and shout you out for producing an incredible evening. And that's what you do. Look, professionally, personally, you do it on Broadway. You do it for us. Just tremendous. It was a great night. So thank you.
Thank you. I'm not one. I do not like being. I was trained to be an actress, right? So I'm used to this. But being in front of the camera and behind the camera at the same time is a little weird. So I'm trying to figure out exactly where my footing stands. But I'm always grateful for the opportunity to serve Sister Jennifer, and you make it very easy. So people like you, who come in, who's ready, looking beautiful, poised, and saying, how can I help and how can I, be of service? That's what we need in leadership on today. So thank you, Sister Jennifer, for always stepping up to that leadership role. And you do it so very, you do it so graciously. So I don't know how you do it all, but I'm thankful that I have the examples to know that it can be done. Okay. Because I see you do it every day. So thank you so much for that. Sister Jennifer, we are are getting ready, and in this time, they're talking about the Nobel Peace Prize, and the winner of the Nobel Peace Prize is set to be revealed this week. We know that President Donald Trump has been literally, hauling down to be considered for the Nobel Peace Prize. What do you feel? Do you feel like he is going to receive this honor as he openly has coveted it?
It's sad to say there's a good likelihood he may, because we see so much of bowing down and kowtowing to him. What we've got to remember is that it unnerved him greatly when President Barack Obama had not been in office for less than 1 year before he received the Nobel Peace Prize. And so for Trump to have served a full 4 years and never received it, he's been gaming for this and gunning for this since the day he left, if not before his first term. And what he's doing is he's trying to say he should get the prize because he has ended 7 wars that everybody felt were not capable of being ended. And I'm sitting around saying, now what were those 7 wars? What's he talking about? And last I checked, if he's including, say, the war between Israel and Hamas that has just brought about the deaths of so many people of Gaza, Palestinians, that ain't over yet either. So I don't know, but you've got people right now who they think it's better to it's like play with the bully, and and give the bully what the bully wants, so that the bully stops bothering them, rather than just stand your ground with the bully. And so there's a good likelihood they might bend over and give it to him.
Ooh.
He don't deserve it.
Ooh. It's getting hot.
Yep.
I hear you though, Sister Jennifer. Brother Percy Johnson is holding on, listening to us from Detroit. Percy, you want to add to the conversation? You're keeping it real. Good afternoon.
Yes. Thank you for taking my call. And wow, Dominique, I didn't realize the role that you play of planning stuff like that for your father's event. And I'll say the same thing. Good job, my sister.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Good job. So yeah, Jennifer Austin, I just feel we need to start talking more about having better civic strategy and targeting things. 2 things. One, I feel that we should have more conversation with these states who are still letting the elected officials draw the lines up, to where the conversation should be where they should make it a ballot initiative. The citizens in those states should make a ballot initiative to allow a nonpartisan source draw the lines up to where they're drawn up to where you're going by block or acre by acre and city by city, and making them as square as possible by the population, instead of, like what we did really in the state of Michigan. We did a ballot initiative to take it away from the elected officials to where we have a partisan, we have a non-elected officials drawing our lines up. And the states that seem to do that get better representations for their community, and that need to be our talking point of saying that our tax funding should represent the people, and should, support the people. That's
so
one.
Let me just quickly say to you, I agree with you. The thing that we've got to work on is when we see that, state constitutions, federal constitution, local constitutions, or what they call charters, they often provide the rules by which you can do things like that. And so, like, to your point, you all were able to organize. In many cities, you can have like a commission to change the way that elections are held. It can be, but the commission has to first get together. The people have to get together, and you either have the mayor appoint the people, you have the council appoint the people, or the people do it themselves, and then they move to put the measures on the ballot. So in many states, it can be done, but first you got to see what does the charter itself provide. And a lot of times, these charters, these state constitutions, the federal constitutions, have been written by the people in power in such a way to try to make it all the more difficult for community to actually have a voice and to say and change the rules so that we can really play the way or play fairly. But I think you're spot on, and you did it, and it can be done.
And so that's where, okay, so you just made me have a question thought then. So I always thought, even though the people always have the power of doing a vote, a collective vote for policy change in their state if the elected officials don't do it. Does every state have that power if the people come together to make it a ballot initiative? Or it's only certain states that can't do that?
That's what I'm saying to you. Not every state, not every city allows for it. So sometimes, but again, it was written by these laws, very often written by the people in power. So like in New York, as an example, they have what they call the Constitution Convention that happens every few years. And what community can do is write in and make proposals, but the community itself can't convene the commission under the Constitution Convention to change the laws. So they got to wait for the Constitution Convention to come up, and then they can make proposals that could make their way to the ballot and be voted upon.
All right.
Oh wow. Okay. So I just learned something. Wasn't aware. But then also, I feel like our conversation needs to be talk more on how the fact that the Senate, our federal Senate, has the power to change the filibuster if they have the majority. They can change that 60-vote rule with the majority, along with the present president signing on to them changing the rule. Am I right about that or not?
Yeah, and there is something that you always got to remember about the filibuster. In part, the reason why some people haven't moved on it is because if you change, like if we move to a rule where every Senate vote requires only a simple majority, 51, then what happens is you could get people moving, you could get the Congress, the Senate moving on a lot of things that it shouldn't move on. You could put it differently. If the Senate, if to pass the budget, you only needed 51 votes, then the Republicans would be passing all kinds of votes. They might not have stopped at cutting Medicaid at the levels that they did. They may not have stopped at cutting SNAP at the levels that they did. That's the problem, and that's the concern that Democrats had. They had it during the Obama years as well. Sometimes it works in the moment when you're in power, but if you're not in power, it doesn't work for you.
But Ms. Austin, isn't that what they did on the 4th of July? They made it. They took the 60 rule away to pass the great beautiful bill.
Let's hold this conversation over the break. Percy, if you want to hold on, because I hear the music. We're going to have to take a break. Dominique Sharpton, Sister Jennifer Jones Austin, taking your calls, 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
I had a thought this morning that I wanted to share with you about mentorship. I am able to do a lot of what I do because I had great mentors, but there are correct ways and incorrect ways to mentor people, in my opinion. I was mentored as a boy preacher by Bishop F.D. Washington, one of the great Pentecostal preachers of his time. Then Reverend William Jones became my pastor after Bishop Washington died, who was unquestionably in the top 5 black church ministers, theologians. Reverend Jesse Jackson, who I started my activism under his leadership, he and Reverend Jones. And I learned politics directly as a youth director from Shirley Chisholm. So even though I didn't finish college, I had the most unique education in the world from being exposed to giants. But the one thing I learned is as I grew older and people started coming younger than me and wanted me to teach and mentor them, the magic of the mentors I had is they did not want me to be their clone. They wanted me to learn things from them and use my own gifts and talent in my own unique way and let me do things on my own. because they knew that if I flopped in some things, it would teach me for the other things. They'll come and help me once I was down, but they were not going to have me avoid being down. And they were not going to impose themselves on me. Why am I saying that? Because too many mentors want clones, and too many mentees want their mentors to put them on a pedestal. Oh, so-and-so didn't do this for me. Oh, so-and-so didn't open doors for me. If they got to open doors for you, it may mean that they knew you weren't ready to go through those doors. Their job is to prepare you. Your job is to develop your own skills, your own unique ways. And I don't care if it's my daughters, who both have come into their own, or anyone else. I'm not a talent agent. I did not form National Action Network to give people their step up. I formed it to fight for justice for everybody. If talented people get in, it's my job to invest and give them a platform. It's their job to get on the platform and perform and show their ability. Sitting with me today in the office as I talk about is one of my mentees, Reverend Stephen Marshall. Now, Stephen, you just came around us when you were how old?
11 years old.
11 years old. You just turned 40 and now you're called to the ministry?
Yes, sir.
And what do you do in National Action Network?
I help formulate policies, lead in various regions, but most importantly, I senior advisor to you on all things from social justice strategies, politics, intergovernmental affairs, you name it, community organizing, all of that stuff.
And I could go through scores of others. My daughter started Huddle. They got Huddles now, which is for young people to meet once a week all over the country. I just saw the video from the Las Vegas National Action Network chapter. Now, when you decided to preach, did I ever tell you to become a preacher?
Not one time.
Who called you to preach?
The Lord.
All right. And did I say go to this school or that school?
No, sir.
Did I open this door, that door? Did I tell you be ready when the doors open?
Always be ready and prepared.
And that's what I'm saying. Get you some young people than you that you can help along the way. But don't be their talent agent. Their talent must speak for themselves. And anybody that grumbles with you about so-and-so didn't do something for them, maybe it's because they didn't feel you were ready, or that they felt if they did it, you wouldn't do it on your own. But we all don't live forever. I want the next generation to speak of me, of National Action Network, and others, the way I speak of Reverend Jones and Bishop Washington and Shirley Chisholm and Reverend Jackson. But I just don't want young people to feel that somebody ought to give them the reins of leadership or give them the reins of business or whatever it is you're in. You need to learn from their journey, get the pearls of wisdom from them, but don't have them do for you, because then it means you can't do it for yourself.
One, two, three, I got the feeling. Hey, baby, baby, I got the feeling. How I got that feeling, yeah. Hey, hey, got that feeling, y'all. Come on. Feeling, baby. Oh, I got the feeling, y'all. Can you put your hands together? I got the feeling. Oh, won't you say, baby, baby, I got that. Ah! Baby, oh, feeling, baby. Oh, hey, hey, oh, baby, 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 baby. Come on, sing it out, baby, baby. Come on. Can't hear you. Hey, hey. I got that. Thank you so much. My name is True Osborne. Humbled and honored
have reversed and tried to turn it into a nightmare. We come to Wall Street rather than Washington this year to let them know you can try to turn back the clock, but you can't turn back time. We gonna keep the dream alive on Wall Street. No justice, no justice, no justice. What do we want? What do we want?
We are the sons and the daughters. We gotta stand up and make it loud. Just like our God told the Pharaoh, let my people go, go. We are a new generation from the ones who have come before. He's calling us into freedom. Let my people go, go. We're gonna shine and we shake. Give me a papa God way, make the heavens. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. The blood, sweat, and the tears that we gathered through the years. If you don't say you know what trouble, let my people go, go. Wade in the water, we did wade in the water, children.
Oh, do I seem excited? I am excited because this Saturday, the National Action Network Saturday Action Rally starts live on WBLS 107.5 FM in New York. We're going to expand. Every Saturday morning, we're live on WBLS 107.5 from 10 a.m. to 11. You'll hear the message. You'll feel the energy. You'll be involved. You won't be sitting around talking about, oh my God, look at what's happening. You'll be involved in dealing with what's happening. I'm excited, and you should be excited too. Turn on WBLS 10 a.m. every Saturday morning. I have a message for you. And if you want to, you can come to the house.
Keeping it real. Dominique Sharpton sitting in with Sister Jennifer Jones Austin and taking your calls 1-877-532-5797. We were speaking with Brother Percy. Are you still on, Percy?
Yes, I'm still on.
And you were asking the question, how is it that they passed the bill? The reason that they were able to pass the big, beautiful bill with a simple majority is because there's something called the Congressional Budget Reconciliation. It's like a law, bylaw, if you will, in the Congress that allows the Senate and the House to go back into a already passed budget and make changes to it. Think about it like if you're in the middle of the year and you were thinking that you were going to make X amount of money, and then all of a sudden your income went down or your income went up, and you decided you had to go back in and make some adjustments to how you were going to spend that money. The laws are government laws, to go in there and do that, and then they can just make a change without having to have 60 senators. They can do it with as few as 51.
Okay. You know, and I keep driving that nail, and I think I done put it in the wood enough on that point. But I'm just, clear me if I'm wrong. There's no policy that's in stone, and with the trifecta of having the leadership of all three positions that's in agreement, you can change any policy and any rule. So that's why I keep saying, for them to sit up and try to say that the Democrats are keeping them from keeping the government open, but yet they have the trifecta of being able to change any rule that's in place.
So what they have the ability to do is to come to table and get everybody in line. Yes, they have more power than anybody right now. The problem is that they don't want to bend. And because they know they have the power, they're not bending. Right? But they just want to keep this false narrative going about health care. They don't want the Affordable Care Act in Obama, otherwise known as Obamacare. They don't want it to continue. They want to stick it to people who receive health care under the Affordable Care Act, the Obamacare Act, but they want to act like it's the Democrats that are doing it. They have the power to get to the table and to compromise. They're just not willing to.
Exactly. And that's what I just wanted to, get out there, that they're lying on the Democrats saying
Yeah.
that they're stopping them. They can change it by them being in agreement with the three powers to be able to change their rules, right? Good news.
Yep.
Our home care workers in our state just voted to get their union back. You know, when once again, when the Republicans were ahead the trifecta in 2012, they made our state right to work, and they took the home care workers union back. Well, when we had the trifecta in 24 with the Democrats, we got to vote for them to be able to vote again to get their union back. And today, they just passed. They just voted with enough numbers by more than 4-1 to get their union back for the home care workers in our state, so they can start negotiating for a contract to get better benefits and stuff. So just to say real quick, the people have the power. People have power. If you come together and unite, we can change anything and make it better for our community.
Yep.
That's right. Thank you so much,
Yep.
Percy. Thank you so much for your call. Sister Jennifer, as we are talking about this, and as the Supreme Court, of course, begins its term, let's talk about some of the cases that we should watch for as they begin its term. And, of course, do we feel the Supreme Court will expand the authority of the executive office?
You know what? What we should nothing is off the table when it comes to this Supreme Court and to Donald Trump. Whenever, however, they can help do his bidding, it seems that they are more inclined to do it. And you know what we always got to remember is that judges are lawyers, and lawyers are trained to look at things every which way and try to figure out how to win for their client. The challenge that we have right now is that it seems too often that the Supreme Court sees Donald Trump as its client. And so however they can switch up and twist and turn, it seems they're going to. The biggest cases that we need to be concerned about right now, in my opinion, are the cases that center on voting rights. Last term, there were two cases that weren't resolved by the Supreme Court centering on voting rights. And in both of the cases, what we were looking at was whether or not, there was the engagement in unconstitutional racial gerrymandering, very much like what we're seeing right now in Texas. And what was at the core, the heart of the issue was the Section 2 of the Voting Rights Act of 1965, which prohibited voting standards and procedures that would discriminate on the basis of race, of a person's like affiliation, association with a minority group. And that prohibition applies nationwide. What we've been seeing is that Clarence Thomas, of all people, he suggested that Section 2 is unconstitutional because it requires consideration of race in redistricting. And essentially what it was done was put in place to make sure that, that you didn't have people and local governments essentially allowing for people who were considered to be of the minority group, blacks and brown people, that Section 2 was in place to prevent them from actually keeping people from having power in voting by creating laws that restricted their ability to vote. And you got Clarence Thomas saying, by saying that we've got to look and make sure that race isn't a factor, we're now making race a factor. How crazy is that?
Wow.
But would you expect anything less from him?
Wow. Sister Jennifer, people on the message board is going in, and I want to, before Trisha has to go to get her hair done and other people are talking on the message board, we are going to have to peace out very soon. But Jalen, go down to these comments about Assemblyman Mamdani. While we have Sister Jennifer, I know that we want to definitely lend some of our attention to the message board. Scroll down. Let's go to, okay. No, I want to go to Democrat.fund. Scroll down. I don't have the capability to do this. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on with me. All the way down. Let's scroll all the way down. I can't get it. I'm sorry about that. But somebody was talking about holding candidates accountable, Sister Jennifer. And we know that New York City is a very important election, not only to but to the fabric of the country. And so holding elected officials accountable on their agenda when they're talking about things that obviously do not go in line with, you know, the American people and how we are seeing the fabric of this played out today and in this time. I do not necessarily, again, we don't endorse people, candidates necessarily on National Action Network's platform. Reverend Sharpton nor myself has endorsed a candidate. So all these questions about Mamdani, I understand. But, you know, this is where we are. So Democracy.Fund is raising questions about Mamdani's promotion of anti-NATO and anti-Kamala DSA is blazing a red flag, and he's never been held accountable for it. Why not? Do you have a comment on that?
So I know that Mamdani, and I'm not endorsing him either, but I know that he was asked questions about Kamala Harris and his not endorsing her. And what he said was that he, like many, I'm just going to call it, like many black people, and particularly young black persons, did not agree with the Biden-Harris administration's stance on Israel when Israel was and I guess still to date continues to engage in Palestinian genocide.
Right.
And so they were taking a stance. There are many black young people and older people who took issue with that. And so he said, how can I endorse a candidate who's part of an administration that is not speaking out against the genocide of Palestinian people? So I think when we ask the question about, you know, well, how can we, you know, support somebody or get with somebody who didn't get with Kamala,
Right.
we need to center on the why. We also need to appreciate that in turn, Kamala Harris has actually endorsed Zohran Mamdani. So, you know, if she's not holding a grudge, then maybe we need to ask ourselves, just dig a little deeper, and that maybe that shouldn't be the reason if we don't support him. Maybe we should make it more substantive in nature if there's a reason. And then on the socialism issue, I think that what often we don't do is dig into, well, what does his Democrat socialism look like? And are we buying into the narratives? Or are we doing the work? Dr. King himself said that, you know, that maybe he was more socialist in nature than he was aligned with the traditional Democrat Party, because he believed in opportunity for everybody. And he believed in a government system that made sure that the basics for everybody were provided for and that people did not have to suffer with not having adequate housing, childcare, food, and the like.
That's right. That's right. I hope that answers your questions. Democracy.Fund. All those on the message board. Thank you always for your enthusiasm. I do see that Brother Todd is on, holding on and
vacation.
has joined us, but we're going to go, I think we're going to a break. I hear that music. So Todd, we coming back for you. Dominique Sharpton sitting in with Sister Jennifer. You got your time to come with your comments. 1-877-532-5797. We'll be back with more of Keeping It Real with Sharpton. We'll be right back.
All over the world today, people are gathered in love vigils to celebrate the life of a man that taught the world how to love. People may be wondering why there's such an emotional outburst, but you would have to understand the journey of Michael to understand what he meant to all of us. For these that sit here as the Jackson family, a mother and father with 9 children that rose from a working class family in Gary, Indiana. They had nothing but a dream. No one believed in those days that these kind of dreams could come true. But they kept on believing, and Michael never let the world turn him around from his dreams. I first met Michael around 1970, Black Expo, Chicago, Illinois, Reverend Jesse Jackson, who stood by this family till now. And from that day as a cute kid to this moment, he never gave up dreaming. It was that dream that changed culture all over the world. When Michael started, it was a different world. But because Michael kept going, because he didn't accept limitations, because he refused to let people decide his boundaries, he opened up the whole world. In the music world, he put on one glove, pulled his pants up, and broke down the color curtain, where now our videos are shown and magazines put us on the cover. It was Michael Jackson that brought blacks and whites and Asians and Latinos together. It was Michael Jackson that made us sing "We Are the World" and feed the hungry long before Live Aid. Because Michael Jackson kept going, he created a comfort level where people that felt they were separate became interconnected with his music. And it was that comfort level that kids from Japan and Ghana and France and Iowa and Pennsylvania got comfortable enough with each other to later it wasn't strange to us to watch Oprah on television. It wasn't strange to watch Tiger Woods golf. Those young kids grew up from being teenage, comfortable fans of Michael to being 40 years old and being comfortable to vote for a person of color to be the president of the United States of America. Michael did that. Michael made us love each other. Michael taught us to stand with each other. There are those that like to dig around mess, but millions around the world, we're going to uphold his message. It's not about mess, it's about his love message. As you climb up steep mountains, sometimes you scar your knee. Sometimes you break your skin, but don't focus on the scars. Focus on the journey. Michael beat him. Michael rose to the top. He outsang his cynics. He outdanced his doubters. He outperformed the pessimists. Every time he got knocked down, he got back up. Every time you counted him out, he came back in. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. Michael never stopped. I want to thank to Mrs. Jackson and Joe Jackson, his sisters and brothers. We thank you for giving us someone that taught us love, someone that taught us hope. We want to thank you because we know it was your dream too. And we know that your heart is broken. I know you have some comfort from the letter from the President of the United States and Nelson Mandela, but this was your child. This was your brother. This was your cousin. Nothing will fill your heart's loss. But I hope the love that people are showing will make you know he didn't live in vain. And I want his 3 children to know, wasn't nothing strange about your daddy. It was strange what your daddy had to deal with. But he dealt with it. He dealt with it anyway. He dealt with it for us. So some came today, Mrs. Jackson, to say goodbye to Michael. I came to say thank you. Thank you because you never stopped. Thank you because you never gave up. Thank you because you never gave out. Thank you because you tore down our divisions. Thank you because you eradicated barriers. Thank you because you gave us hope. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Michael. The fact of the matter is, Rosa Parks was not only the mother of the modern civil rights movement, she was the mother of this nation. Why would you say that, Sharpton? Because you called George Washington the father of the nation, but when he became father, we wasn't included in the nation. Women were not included in the nation. The first time we had a parent in this nation is when all of us was included, and Rosa Parks did that on December 1st, 1955.
I'm Dominique Sharpton, sitting in with Sister Jennifer, and we've been taking your calls today on Keeping It Real and also chiming in with the message board today. Thank you for all of you who are calling in and really tuning into the action and conversation. I was going to go to my brother Todd. I call him my brother. Always good to hear from you, Todd, though. I'm glad that we were able to see you come through. Todd, are you there? You're keeping it real.
I am here.
All right.
I am here. Dominique Sharpton, Jennifer Jones, Austin.
Hello.
So here's my inquiry that public safety, essential public safety is supposed to be protected from any shutdown, meaning that they will be paid. Air traffic controllers are essential public safety. They are on that list of employees under the federal government, and yet they're still being blocked from being paid and requested to come into work. Where's the current administration justifying blocking their pay if they've already been qualified as essential public safety?
Yeah.
No, I hear what you're saying, and I guess the only my response to this, Todd, and it's not in my mind an acceptable one, but it's a real response. In this moment in America, we have a president who does not abide by rules. He doesn't abide by laws. He doesn't abide by, what we've all considered to be norms. And so if anything he decides to do, he's going to try it, even if he doesn't even know if he can actually ultimately pull it off. So what happens in instances like this, and we've seen it on a number of policies and plans, he will decide to do a certain thing, and unless he's challenged in court, then he goes forward. But the first thing he does is he sets it up. So like when he decided that he was going to decide about birthright citizenship and to whom it applied and whom it didn't, and say that children who were born here but are the descendants of people who maybe came here illegally, were not documented, that he could say that they weren't citizens. So what did he do? He declared it, and then it was actually litigated, and it's moving through the courts. That's what he does. That's how it works, Todd. It's as simple as that with him. If he thinks it and he wants to try it, he tries it.
Currently, this is not the first time this has happened. Although I recognize the majority party in Congress is actually the aggressor on this right now, this happens a lot. And it's a fundamental responsibility of Congress to fund the government for the employees to work and deliver services that are paid for through the tax dollars. I hope people are listening to this. Get in touch with your congressperson. Make sure that somebody reads this from you and express that our standard of what qualifies as essential services has to be protected. And if it's not protected now, then the standard needs to be better written, and they need to read a little bit about what it takes to do legislation. Because if somebody does read it from your congressperson's office, they may ask, well, what do you want us to do about it? If you know something about legislation that you can point out, this is what should be done so that this doesn't happen again, then we won't be at risk of what we're at risk of right now by air traffic controllers being requested to come to work and not be paid. Mm-hmm. There should be no way that can be done. No way that can be done. Mm-hmm. And then I have this question I noticed that the Democrats proposed a bill to at least get the military paid, but Mike Johnson didn't call the Congress back to even vote on it. Did you get a chance to read any of what was in it?
No, I haven't seen that. So the military, and that's actually something that it's good that you're pointing this out, Todd, because what a lot of people don't understand is that just because you may be a worker that is deemed essential and you have to keep working through a government shutdown doesn't mean that your money's going to flow the way that it always flows. Because keep in mind that some of the people who may be processing your check are not considered essential, and the money may not flow. I did not see it, though.
It's a responsibility of the private citizen at this point. If there are not enough private citizens getting in touch with their congressperson and detailing out that they believe that we need to protect the pay of the employees that are essential workers, then this is going to get worse, and it's going to get worse fast. And don't assume that just you by yourself, whoever you may be, are not going to be able to get this move. You have to be a part of trying to get it moved. There's already been air traffic disrupted. There's people in this country that are receiving medicines from UPS, FedEx, Amazon, and the Postal Service that may have flights delayed where their medicine is sitting on those aircraft trying to get to them, and they can't get it because the air traffic controllers have stopped coming to work, and they have to slow down traffic up in the air. It often has to get on a plane before it gets on a truck to where you are, and this is much more serious than what it's being taken as being. So I just wanted to put that in there. There may be another caller in the limited time that you have left in the broadcast that wants to get in.
That's all right. I just want to, and thank you so much for that. You can hang on if you need, but definitely want to raise democracy.fund's comment, because I just want, you ain't going to come in and attack my sister on this broadcast and not get away with it. So Sister Jennifer, earlier we were talking about, of course, BB's war crimes, and democracy.fund is saying blaming Biden and Harris for these war crimes, essentially aiding and abetting Trump and MAGA. So I just want to clarify for everyone's benefit. That's not what she said. So let's just clarify for the people what actually was said, so that we go out of this broadcast on one accord.
Yeah, that is not at all what I said. What I said was that you had in persons like Zohran Mamdani, and there are many other people across this country who felt the same, that you have a situation where not enough was being said to Israel and to Benjamin Netanyahu about what is happening with Palestinians in respect to the Hamas-Israeli war, and that not enough was being done by the then presidential administration to call them out, Israel, for not for killing for the killings of so many Palestinians. And that was an issue that Zohran Mamdani, again, I'm going to say, as well as many, many other people, had with the administration. And that's why he determined that he could not endorse Kamala Harris. And again, I'm going to say, and she turned around and she endorsed him.
Right.
So clearly, she understood his position, that it was, whether you call it a principle, an ethical, moral, whatever. She understood his position. And she was good with it.
I hope that gives you some clarity, democracy.fund, because you were lit up on the message board. So I just wanted to be clear. Thank you, Sister Jennifer.
Thank you.
Also, as we are wrapping up the broadcast, I want to just go back to the point, because we were talking about the Supreme Court. Will the courts remain on the side, do you feel, of President Trump? We're talking about Oregon, Illinois. There are other states that are coming forward to resist, of course, the Trump administration's deployment of federal troops in their state. I just wanted to get your last word on that.
I think it's going to be a stretch. They're going to have to be able to show that there is some compelling emergency reason why the president is sending troops into these places, because the federal law enforcement is not supposed to be used legally by Constitution. It's not supposed to be showing up in the states unless there is some compelling emergency. and Trump hasn't shown one yet.
Sister
He
Jennifer,
could do it in D.C. because he has authority over D.C.
He has
doesn't
authority
have
over
authority
DC, but he doesn't have authority everywhere else. So they can resist
That's right.
these policies. Okay, just wanted to be clear that that is very likely and likely happening and continuing to happen. Thank
That's
you,
right.
Sister Jennifer. I hear the music. Thank you so much for always
Thank
joining
you.
us, being so gracious. I hope you enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you all for calling in, those who called in and got through, those that joined us on the message board. Thank you. Thank you. Reverend Sharpton will be back tomorrow to exhale with y'all on Friday. But as he says, whatever you do, wherever you go, and however you feel, make sure you remind people that Rev is telling us every day, we got to keep it real. Keep it real